Hello again, Florida Southern Moccasins, and welcome to Module 6 of Esports Sponsorship Activation. This module, we're going to focus very much on tournaments and the whole dynamic of exclusivity. So we're going to hopefully appreciate the strategic reasons why major brands sponsor esports leagues and teams. We'll identify the financial structure of sponsorship activation, at least to the degree that we're able to access it. In other words, have public information. We'll look at esports leagues and major tournaments, review tournament finances, review esports franchise and team earnings. We're going to identify specific corporate sponsors, especially with an eye towards exclusivity and the strategic implementation of esports sponsorship. And that means we'll have to be referencing leagues and franchises like NBA 2K, Call of Duty, EA24, FIFA, and a host of other sponsors. So as we've already seen, when we talk about sponsors at major tournaments in esports, it is in fact an amalgamation of endemic and non-endemic sponsors. And as with any event, you can have exclusivity in a particular area. In other words, you can be the endemic sponsor exclusive in terms of hardware or something, and you could also be the exclusive non-endemic sponsor in the case of, say, a soft drink or an apparel brand or an automobile brand, as we're going to see a little bit later. And so this becomes of importance to you as future marketing and business people, because as we saw, there are a host of tournaments. There are thousands, in fact, of tournaments, each of which, we'll go back there, each of which on the right has its own significant prize pool. And that prize pool is usually commensurate with the size of audience that is expected. So I think it is wise for us now to take a look at some specific sponsors and what their strategy has been with regards to specific tournaments and all that. And let's start with Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz has been involved in esports since 2022. In other words, fairly recent. And it has sponsored teams such as T1 and SK Telecom, in other words, Korean teams. That's significant, of course, because Mercedes-Benz is not big in Korea. All right. I mean, if you go to Korea, which I keep saying is my second Asian home, I mean, you're going to find a lot of Hyundais and a lot of Kias and some Japanese brands. But the Mercedes-Benz in Korea is clearly high end. I mean, it's a high end anywhere, but in Korea, it's especially high end. But Mercedes-Benz is also a sponsor of the Intel Extreme Masters, which we already know is one of the biggest and longest running esports tournaments. Now, as a result of Mercedes-Benz partnership with T1, the esteemed Faker, who is, we genuflect when we hear his name, he was presented with a luxurious new Mercedes-Benz and a car valued at approximately $120,000. Obviously, Mercedes-Benz here is seeking to influence and identify that success in esports, success, frankly, in anything Korean, is when it reaches a level of such prominence, Mercedes-Benz is what you want to have. Now let's take a look at an actual South Korean company, and Samsung. Samsung has been involved in esports since 2013, which clearly is another indication of how Korea is the mecca, the origins of esports. And it has, in fact, sponsored teams such as SK Telecom, T1, and Fnatic. But it's also a sponsor of the League of Legends World Championship, which is the most popular esports tournament in the world. Again, popular, not the most prize money and all that. But it still offers 2.23 million prize money. And Samsung has a market cap of 326 billion as of May of 2023. So when Samsung's involved, you can pretty much bet that it is going to be the endemic exclusive partner in these things. Now let's change gears incredibly again and go to Red Bull. So Red Bull has been involved in esports since 2006 and has its own teams that it sponsors, OG and G2. but it is also a sponsor of the Red Bull Battlegrounds, which is a Dota 2 tournament. Now, this energy drink company reportedly pays their athletes an average of $20K to $55K. By our standards, that's not a heck of a lot of money, right? Especially when Red Bull's estimated net worth was euros 16, basically $17 billion. But we have to balance this against how many things Red Bull is sponsoring. So Red Bull is sponsoring quite a number of different teams, athletes, tournaments. But clearly, when Red Bull is sponsoring, there's not going to be any other non-endemic company that's involved in the beverages or highly caffeinated drinks that are involved. Let's continue this focus on individual companies and looking at Intel, which we've referenced before. It's an American multinational company, which since 1999 has been deeply immersed in the realm of esports. Again, you could see their vision, because it's the Intel chip that's making esports even possible. All right. It has sponsored tournaments such as the Intel Extreme Masters and DreamHack. Now, it's also a sponsor of the ESL Pro League, which is one of the most prestigious esports leagues in the world. And we're going to be talking more about that in just a little bit, because ESL has been purchased by a Saudi Arabian venture capital group, okay? Now, that deal saw both companies invest over $100 million in esports from 2022 to this forthcoming year. Now let's look at Coca-Cola. Again, another American multinational corporation based in Atlanta. Now, since 2013, it has been an integral part of the esports community and has sponsored tournaments such as League of Legends World Championship, as well as the Intel Extreme Masters. But it's also a sponsor of the Esports Awards, an annual award ceremony recognizing excellence in esports. So we can see here that with Coca-Cola's intention is really to be seen by as many people, as many potential customers as possible. Now let's go to Mobil 1, which is probably one of the outliers here, because we're like, Mobil Oil Company? Well, for the past few years, Mobil 1 has been actively engaged in esports. It started in 2018 and has sponsored teams such as Gen G and Space Station Gaming. But it's also a sponsor of the Rocket League Championship Series, the most popular esports league for the Rocket League video game. Now, what is Rocket League? Rocket League is make-believe cars, Hot Wheels, playing soccer in a netted arena, right? Well, there is a connection there between a motor oil brand and a video game that features souped up cars. Do you guys even use the word souped up anymore? In my generation, souped up meant a really cool car. Okay, boomer, next. Now let's look at Mountain Dew Ice. They've been involved in esports since 2022, and they've sponsored teams such as Envy Gaming and 100 Thieves. But it's also a sponsor of the Call of Duty League, a professional esports league for the Call of Duty video game, which we're going to look at in just a little bit. Now, the overall prize pool there is $500,000, with the grand prize winner taking home $80,000, which means we've got a pretty significant prize pool. But the winners receive a gaming contract with Mountain Dew for up to 1 year. It kind of makes sense that Mountain Dew Ice would connect and be focused on something like Call of Duty, where your reflexes are paramount, where your ability to think and change and pivot on a dime is paramount. And you could see where the not so subtle motivation here is, if you're going to play Call of Duty, drink Mountain Dew Ice. Now let's go to a financial company, Ally. Ally Financial Group is an American financial services company that's brand new to esports, 2023. But it has sponsored tournaments such as the Ally women's tournament, 40K prize pool, and the NARLCS $100,000 prize pool. Now, Alley Financial is also a sponsor of the Rocket League Championship Series, which offers $2.1 million in a prize pool. So Alley is very smartly positioning itself here with an emphasis on women and younger. Because guess what? One thing that high schools aren't teaching that you all better learn is financial management and how to control your money and how to invest your money and all that. And Ally is saying, we're here to help you do that. Now let's look at MasterCard. MasterCard has emerged as a prominent supporter of esports, reinforcing the commitment to the esports ecosystem. All right. It's done this by strengthening its collaboration with Riot Games. The Riot Games MasterCard connection has expanded greatly in recent years, and it encompasses marquee events like the prestigious LOL World Championship with a $2.23 million prize pool, as well as the mid-season invitational featuring $250K and the captivating All-Star event boasting a $200,000 prize pool. Again, we can see here the wisdom and the brilliance in having multiple major tournaments throughout the year, okay? Now, this strategic alliance underscores MasterCard's role in shaping the future of esports by emphasizing their dedication to propelling the industry forward. And let's face it, when it comes to credit cards, we'll skip Discover now. If you have a Discover card, good for you. But it's like VHS Betamax all over again. It's either going to be MasterCard or it's going to be Visa. And I happen to have multiple cards of each one. And my main motivation is what points am I earning on what particular purchase that determines which one of these cards I use, whether it's MasterCard or if it's Visa. Starbucks. By the way, Starbucks, when I buy a Starbucks drink, I am getting Delta Airline frequent flyer miles. I could get Marriott Bonvoy points, but I already have like over 1 million Marriott Bonvoy points, but I need more Delta Airline miles. So hence the connection with Starbucks. Okay. Now, all of that said, let's return to franchising. Okay. Franchising. I've talked about centralized leagues, decentralized leagues, but in a franchise league, a central coordinator, in this case, a franchisor, which just happens to be a game publisher, offers a select number of available spots, with each spot in a league coming with a certain price. Why would you do this? Well, because after spending millions to buy into a franchise league, you anticipate earning the perks of being a permanent member. This includes no relegation, together while granting sponsorship and advertising support from the franchisor. Once again, in the United States, we don't know what relegation is. When you take a look at international soccer, for example, especially the Brits or in Europe, you can become a member of the Premier League when you reach certain qualifications and points and what have you. If you're one of the original ones, you cannot be relegated. In other words, you can't be bumped down. Let me give an example in baseball. The 30 Major League Baseball teams are non-relegated, no matter how poorly a team does. And this year, I'm not going to include the Pirates because the Pirates are doing pretty well. But let's say the White Sox, okay? If you're the White Sox and are having a terrible year, there's no way they can suddenly, that the MLB can suddenly say, you are now a member of AAA. And we're going to promote the Charlotte Knights, which is your AAA team, to take your place in the major league. You cannot do that. That's called relegation. All right. So when you are a founding member of a league, you don't get relegation. Okay. Now, what are some of the other benefits of franchising? you can more easily develop a fan base, okay? And you can also benefit the players that are directly competing in the league. In esports, that's rather unique, right? Because you can be a member of the team, member of the franchise team, but also continue to earn money, depending upon your contract, by streaming and being an influencer, okay? Now, all franchisees in a league must have as a common rule the offering players a minimum salary. In addition, all work benefits and a cut in the winnings as bound by a contract. That would be akin to, say, when you win the Super Bowl and there's that additional money, it's divided among whoever the team says should get it. When I say that, I mean in addition to the players, it could be the coaches and what have you, okay? Now, new players will compete with one another to fight their way into the main franchise through lower divisions. In other words, there is, in fact, a minor league in esports. The minor league happens to be in the various other teams and tournaments that are set apart from the franchise itself. Now, we talked about the franchise fee. It's not cheap. So we're now going to ask ourselves a series of questions. Why is esports franchising so expensive? Well, number one, you're spending to reach a large and engaged audience. It's one of the most obvious benefits of sponsoring an esports team is so that you can reach this large and engaged and passionate audience base, fan base. Now, according to Newzoo, which is a very reputable statistical company, there were 495 million esports fans globally back in 2020, before the pandemic, okay? This number is expected to grow to 646 million by last year. These fans watch esports online, as we said, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, but they also follow their favorite teams and players on social media. And that's where they get to interact with them and other fans. Again, streaming, right? So by sponsoring an esports team, you expose your brand to this massive and loyal fan base, hoping to increase your brand awareness, recognition, and affinity. Why else are you spending millions of dollars to get a franchise? You want to align your brand with a positive image. That's assuming a lot, depending upon the game itself, right? So esports teams are often seen as role models. They are definitely the independent players as influencers and as ambassadors for the gaming industry because they're demonstrating their skills. They are manifesting teamwork, professionalism, and sportsmanship. Hopefully, increasingly, they're going to represent diversity, inclusion, and innovation, seeing that they come from different backgrounds, cultures, and regions. Not there yet, but we're hoping. But they are using the latest technology and trends. Thereby, sponsoring an esports team, you show your support and appreciation for the esports culture in hopes of enhancing your brand reputation, its credibility, and its trust. Why are esports franchises so expensive? Number three, because you're creating unique and engaging content. Esports teams can help you produce and distribute content that appeals to the esports audience. In what form? Interviews, behind the scenes, tutorials. I mean, we never give tutorial YouTube videos the recognition that it needs. Tips, reviews, and more. They can also feature your brand and products in their streams, their videos, their podcasts, their blogs, their vlogs, social media posts. That's all called product placement. In other words, if this was being sponsored, I could say that I only drink Starbucks coffee. It's the only coffee for me, which is not true, okay? It just happens to be on the corner and I get Delta Airline miles points, right? Okay, good. Okay. Now, by creating content with an esports team, you can showcase your brand personality, your values and benefits, And hopefully you're going to generate interest, curiosity, and excitement among the esports fan. Let's go back to Ally, right? Let's say that Ally is probably appearing on some streams and tournament pages and all that. And you have people going, what the heck is Ally? And maybe that spurs research into finding that they are a financial management company that, hey, may have more appeal to you than Chase Manhattan or Bank of America or the bank that your mom and dad use, okay? Why are esports franchises so expensive? Because you are hoping to build long-term relationships and loyalty, okay? Because the fact of the matter is, esports fans are not only interested in watching esports events, but in participating with them. And they can do this either as players in, say, amateur tournaments or as supporters. They're doing this because they want to feel connected to the esports team and brand that they follow. They want to be part of their journey and success. Joseph Campbell, The Hero's Journey. All right. I I want to be part of the Pittsburgh Pirate journey. All right. I've been a season ticket holder for 30 plus years. I uh, I moved to Pittsburgh in 1975. In 1979, we were in the World Series, right? I went to all of that. I became a Pirate fan in the National League, Yankee fan in the American League, although I'm wearing Brooklyn Cyclones today, which is the New York Mets Class A team in Brooklyn, because I'm from Brooklyn. Um, but I'm part of that journey, right? I mean, Paul Skeens is like, you want the shining knight suddenly appearing. Paul Skeens is doing that for us here in Pittsburgh today. So anyway, by sponsoring an esports team, business creates opportunities for interaction and engagement with the esports fans, doing this through contests, giveaways, events, meet and greets, fan clubs, and more. But it can also offer them exclusive deals, discounts, rewards, and access to products and services. When it does this, it hopes to create a sense of community, a sense of belonging and loyalty among the esports fan, with the ultimate strategic goal of turning them into company advocates and promoters. I mean, I'll tell you, one of the other reasons that I'm big on Starbucks is I also teach at Arizona State University, and Starbucks and Arizona State signed years ago an agreement whereby a Starbucks barista can take Arizona State University online courses for free, and basically pursue their degree. In fact, the esports courses that I teach at Arizona State are available to any barista of Starbucks anywhere in the world. So how many of them who are taking my esports courses at Arizona State online, but making me a cafe Americano grande with cream, have no idea that I am their professor? You can tell we're getting towards the end of this class because Don's letting it all hang out. Why are esports franchises so expensive? Because frankly, we're getting something back from it. We're gaining insight and feedback. Sponsoring an esports team allows a company to gain insight and feedback from the esports market and audience. Again, a young audience. Esports teams and fans are often at the forefront of the gaming industry, right? As they use and they consume the latest games, hardware, software, and media. But they are also vocal and expressive about their opinions, their preferences, and their needs. And they are more than willing to share them with you. Now, by sponsoring an esports team, business accesses valuable data and information about the esports trends, the behaviors, and demands. And it's using this information, hopefully, to improve their brand strategy, their product development, and their customer service. So a company can also ask for direct feedback and suggestions from the esports team and fans and use them to enhance brand performance, quality, and satisfaction. Okay, I'm going to stop there and make this part one of Module 6.